Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is the location and setting of this episode of Unknown Serial Killers. Brazil, home to one of the largest gay pride marches in the world, as well as being an epicenter to one of South America's most vibrant and celebrated gay communities. As the LGBT parade was being held between February 2007 to August 2008, a series of brutal murders was taking place in the Paturis Park, Carapicuíba, Brazil. The first murder occurred on July 4 of 2007 with the death of 32-year-old José Cicero Enrique when police found him half-naked, shot in the forehead. He also had his pants down to the knee. The last one occurred on March 15 of 2009. One victim died due to blunt force trauma to the head. It was so bad the man's head was completely smashed to a pulp. With the exception of him, the other 11 men were shot in the forehead with a .38 caliber handgun. The last victim was shot a total of 12 times, which is a pretty good indicator of the pure hate he had for his unsuspecting prey. The victims were all male with the exception of one, a transgender female, and were between the ages of 20 to 40 years old. All but one were killed in the park, except one having been murdered at a local motel. All 13 murders were forensically linked to the same killer. Most of the victims were partially stripped of their clothes in a way to symbolize what this killer believed to be sexual deviant behavior. He would then toss them into the undergrowth as if he was throwing away trash. In his mind, that's the way he saw them. The park was a known meet-up spot for homosexual activity. Everyone who was killed was gay or trans. It was said he dubbed himself the Rainbow Maniac. As information is hard to find on the case that can't be confirmed. But either way, due to the park's reputation, the police and the media started referring to the killer as the Rainbow Maniac in reference to the colors of the gay pride flag. Brazil is a proud sponsor of LGBT rights and laws, like the United States, where gay marriage has been legal in most states for over a decade now, although it has some of the highest rates of hate and sex crimes. But now, even somewhere as beautiful as Brazil, there was now a serial killer on the loose, and fear gripped the city after the series of horrendous murders. A shadow was now cast over one of the most tolerant gay rights cities in Latin America. It was 6 months later that police finally announced they had a suspect they were looking into, who they thought may be a serial killer thought to be responsible for as many as 13 murders on the western outskirts of Brazil's largest city. He would later be thought to be linked to 3 additional murders in the nearby city of Osasco. Based on the evidence and witness statements, on December 10, 2008, police finally arrested Jairo Francisco Franco. Then working as a security guard, Franco himself was a retired state police sergeant. A witness came forth and claimed to have seen Franco shoot a black gay man 12 times. Police also believed he was visiting the park to look for victims. The police chief, Paulo Fernando Fortunato, was quoted as saying he doesn't like homosexuals, he hates them. In his mind, he thinks he's doing a cleanup job. Chief Fortunato also said he believed that they had the right man, and everything pointed to Franco. All the evidence and the eyewitness accounts pointed to Franco being the Rainbow Maniac. But on August 23 of 2011, Jairo Francisco Franco was set free after the jury declared him not guilty by a vote of 4-2. Even though the police chief himself had been quoted several times as being sure that Franco was indeed the Rainbow Maniac. So the question remains, if Franco wasn't the killer, then who was? And why was he voted not guilty when all forensic evidence made it clear that Franco was the serial killer? So either he's the man behind all the murders and is still walking free, or it was all the hideous work of someone else. Either way, somewhere in Brazil the killer walks free, and that's the story of an unknown serial killer. I'm new at this and will possibly narrate on my own soon. Depending on if you like this video or not will depend on what I do in the future. At least I didn't use the voice that sounds like Stephen Hawking. Just kidding. See you next time on Unknown Serial Killers by Undying Presents.